Hello. I'm jumping right into it, fellas. Welcome to the second to last episode of Freelancer Radio, the lost episodes of the TMSG show. This one's a little special one. This one is not one that we had planned up until recently, thanks to the guys. Uh, we all decided, hey, let's put this one out alongside the final one, which we'll record probably in the next couple of weeks. But this one is all about Star Wars Episode 9 Rise of Skywalker. And I saw it the week of launch. Marlon saw it, Justin saw it, Lee and Andrew saw it. I almost made the same mistake that I make with Lee every time. I was going to say Lee and the Southerners saw it. Lee and Spade. I always make that mistake when it comes to it, but I did it. But I wanted to call myself out on that one. So we're going to jump right into it. For the listeners who have not seen Rise of Skywalker yet for whatever reason, do not listen. Watch the film and then come back and listen to our show, because I know we're late when it comes to the spoiler talk, but we're going to do one anyway. And we're going to jump right into it. Palpatine is back. Palpatine is back. And they even mention it somehow in the opening scroll.
Yep.
Going to kick it off to Marlon. Marlon, what'd you think of the film overall? I mean, what were your thoughts on it as you were watching it?
Honestly, I wasn't expecting much from the film. It is not as bad as some reviewers were making it out to be. It has some lore inconsistencies. It has some just motifs that for me just didn't quite add up for, because of the fact that I am a Luke Skywalker fanboy, and anything that tries to precede that just I don't like it. But overall, for me, the movie was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't this amazing storyline from the freaking Star Wars universe. I'd rather much have something more from the King for Knights of the Old Republic by this point. But in my point of view, the movie was okay. That's the best way that I can say it. As for, maybe we'll get into more of the character development and stuff like that later on, but I just like overall impressions. Okay. I want to kick it to Justin and see what our resident Star Wars fanatic has to say about this.
Man, Marlon and I are on the same wavelength.
It was shit. My opening statement.
I love it. It's so good.
All I wanted, and I'm probably jumping ahead.
Looking for you, brother.
That was my alarm to give my dog her insulin. I already gave it to her.
Nice. I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit here. In this, not just the Rise of Skywalker, but in this trilogy, I was looking for a badass lightsaber fight. And in all three of these movies, and this Rise of Skywalker being like the last one, of this trilogy, maybe it'll finally happen. And no, it didn't happen. It was the most upsetting thing. And just like the ending and how it just like the whole Ben Solo and the redemption right there, and like I knew they were gonna try to,
like I said, lore inconsistencies, but
it was just.
We're gonna get into it, but I wanna go round table real quick, and we're gonna kick it off to Andrew, and so he can share his thoughts on the film overall.
Oh man, okay, so looking at the movie without like not in the big context of like the whole series or the trilogy, like the movie itself, I thought was entertaining. It was good. But when you start looking at it and the overall scheme of things, that's where I started to not like. And as a Star Wars fan here, anybody who really watched all of them would feel the same way. But I don't know what you mean by lack of lightsaber fight, man. I think that the fight on the ship was pretty dope, with all the water and everything. But like I say, it was entertaining. Had some cool visuals. It finally kind of closed up Rey's or her story arc Like we finally got her pass. Some of the other characters, I feel like they didn't shine as much as they kind of built them up from the previous show, like the previous movies. I don't know. It had like you guys said, like a bunch of lore and story points that were kind of messed up. But if you just took the movie as itself, it was entertaining, to say the least.
Fair enough.
And Lee, the redhead, the real redhead, what'd you think?
I like the movie. I'm not as big Star Wars fan as a lot of people, so
He's a Trekkie. He's a Trekkie.
It didn't bother me as much as it does Justin over here. But you know, I liked it, but it's something that going back and watch it again, but not really my cup of tea.
All right, so now it's my turn to dig in. I don't hate the film. I'm gonna try to recapture what some of my feelings were coming out the movie theater, and then like the 15-20 minutes that I spent writing notes on my phone, like a loser nerd. Like I agree with Andrew in terms of it was an entertaining film to watch, but it was a disappointing film to watch as well at the same time. I don't want to say I hated it. I didn't have like a visceral, oh, I hate this. I disagreed with the. I agree with Justin because I disagreed with the Ben Solo redemption story. For anybody who follows me on Twitter, for the longest time, like my pinned tweet was, "There is no redemption for Kylo Ren" or something like that. That was like one of my pinned tweets for like almost like for 2 years since the movie came out, almost. And I can't believe that they redeemed him, and then they used Rey to redeem him, which was stupid. I don't have a problem with Palpatine coming back. I didn't have a problem with the huge plot holes of them not explaining how he came back. But we didn't need Palpatine. I think the movie was just complete and utter fan service. I think Disney and Lucas, I think they just caved to the fans who hated Last Jedi. Now, anybody who's listened to the AG show and heard the AG show Spoilercast of The Last Jedi knows that I love that film. There were some parts that I could have done without, like the Casino Planet, the whole stupid Rose and Finn angle, which I kind of hated because they didn't follow that up in episode 9. But it was just complete and total fan service. The whole Rey thing about her becoming a Skywalker at the end, I think it was stupid. I'll mention what I did like. I did like that C-3PO was like a big part of the story because he had like the droids, especially R2-D2, were like in none of these films. And this is crazy because I'm not a fan of the prequel trilogy, but I think that out of all the trilogies, the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and now the sequel trilogy, I think this is the worst trilogy out of all of them, especially the prequel.
Agreed.
Sorry to cut you off, Gustavo, but can I just say something? Can I just interject this? That whole arc of C-3PO losing his memory, getting his memory bank completely, erased. Can I just say that was like the most disgusting thing for me in the entire movie? We have a character who we've been following for the past, 40 plus years or something like that, and like this character is like, oh, we have to erase his memory in order for us to get this last piece of the puzzle. Okay, let's go for him. Like, wait, like that? Like just like that? No thinking about it, no second thoughts. Like, no, go for it. Let's do it. I'm like, you guys are assholes.
Babu Frick was a cool character. I thought Babu Frick was cool. I thought the character that Felicity played, I forgot her name. Oh my god, I call her Felicity because she was in the WB11 show. But the Poe's bounty hunter friend, Zori Bliss. I liked her even though she was only there for a bit. I felt the movie was quick. Like I felt like it started and it finished and it was 2 hours later and I was like, whoa, this is it? It just felt like it was just nonstop beat. Like first, like they introduced Palpatine. You see Kylo, he's fighting against like these, I don't know. I think I read online that same planet that he was fighting was the planet that Marlon, why are you laughing like an idiot?
It's something on Discord. Don't worry about it.
So I think Kylo Ren, he was fighting in the same planet that that you go to as the character from Cal Kestis that's he's in the Jedi Order game, the planet with the Night Sisters or whatever. I forgot the name of the planet. Or I could be wrong. It could maybe it wasn't that planet. I think it was it was the planet that Darth Vader was in, Dathomir, I think. I forget. But he gets the holocron. He finds out about Palpatine. He confronts him right away. And then he just like takes his orders. I'm like, what? The final orders are introduced. Then it cuts back to Poe Dameron. He's piloting the Millennium Falcon, and he's doing this thing called like hyper light jumping or some shit, which I thought was kind of cool. Like he jumps into Cloud City in one scene, so that's like a little callback to Cloud City.
Talk about the skip jumps or whatever they're called.
Yeah, the light speed skipping. Yeah, that's what it is. And then this is the first time that I saw like a little bit of like fan servicey type shit, where you see the training montage of Leia training Rey until she is worthy, and then like she gives her the lightsaber, and she's like, "Oh no, I can't take it yet because I'm not worthy." I'm like, that just feels like one of the complaints that people were talking about with the first one about her being a Mary Sue. I'm like, what the hell? What is going on? But yeah, there was a lot of plot holes. There was a lot of problems that I had with this film. I think that they should have made Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, like the actual bad guy. There were a couple cool call-outs, like when he goes to Palpatine for the second time to help out Rey. You see him running around with the lightsaber shooting shit, and to me that was like a call-out to his father, Ben Solo. Just like the gun-wielding type of guy who just shoots. I thought that was kind of cool. Talking about lightsaber battles, there was this one scene where I thought we were going to have like a crazy-ass fight, was when she gives him the lightsaber through like their new force power, and he's surrounded by the Knights of Ren.
Which were also shit. They've been talking about the Knights of Ren since episode, 7? Like, oh, the Knights of Ren, the Kylo Ren, the Knights of Ren. And then, like, you see them surrounding Kylo Ren in that dark scene where it's, like, all stormy and rainy. And you're like, okay, I can get behind this. It's not just one dude. There's, like, a clan. There's a tribe of these guys. And they're chilling somewhere. We don't see them for 2 episodes. We finally see them. And throughout the whole damn movie, they're just chasing these guys down. They just surround the characters, and they didn't do shit until the very end. And then they get to the end. I thought they were going to have like badass lightsaber. No, this dude has like a big ass axe. This dude has like a pokey stick going on over here. And you got Kylo Ren with a lightsaber. Yeah. Like, who's gonna win this battle? Like,
I think what gets me about that scene specifically, and probably for me, was also going back to Gustavo's point of view about fan service, was basically when Kylo Ren beats the living crap out of this guys, and then he goes, like, imitating Han Solo's shrug. And I'm like, Yeah. So, like, the thing for me, though, like, Justin was talking about the Knights of Ren, or those, or his groupie, I like to call it. Basically, for me, was the entirety of them was supposed to be this badass group. Now he gets it. Now he looks at this score. He understands what he's talking about, Mr. Chia Pet. So what gets me about this whole situation is that we have been built up through the entire trilogy about what's this a big empire. We built up by how Rey is supposed to be like the next freaking Luke Skywalker, but I feel that the reason why the first trilogy was so successful wasn't just the fact that it was space magic, but it was the fact that between episode 4 and episode 5 there was a 7-year gap, and that gave the writers ability to be able to create a story that made sense. Nowadays we get movies pumped up every 2-3 years, which doesn't allow the characters to get ingrained into people's memories or get ingrained into people's collective thoughts. And I feel that's what happens when it comes to how people were saying how Rey looks like a Mary Sue, even though Luke Skywalker in some certain aspects did the same thing. The problem is that it had 7 years to allow the exploits to be like talked around in the fan base. For Rey, it was like 2 years. I'm like, wait. You mean to tell me that between this episode 8 and episode 9, she's completely like able to do all this stuff? And it took years to master, not just on the movies, but also on the writings, on the lore, on the books, and everything like that. And I'll tell you something. The Knights of Ren felt like a complete lack of shit when it comes to just thematic evil guys. Palpatine was basically Palpatine, like Justin likes to say, Palpatine hands, I unlimited power, I'm like, it fell short because in episodes 4, 5, and 6, it was Darth Vader, and even then, even though Darth Vader's lack of actual fighting style, we only got to see some of that until Rogue One. Where we actually saw him like actually fighting like an actual badass.
Yeah.
But there was a presence about him that commanded respect. Ben Solo never had that. His lackeys never had that. Hell, even though the one from episode 8, the captain.
Captain Phasma. Oh no.
Captain Phasma.
Everybody thought she was gonna be the next Boba Fett. No.
So we keep getting all this stuff where we're getting hyped up, and we keep getting disappointed by the lack of just foresight when it comes to writing these characters. And I feel that's what hurt this trilogy the most. It wasn't the story in itself. It was the fact that when it was implemented in this way, it felt like it was just a cash grab. And for me, that's the biggest sin when it comes to Star Wars, because George Lucas has
open the door.
I know it's an old clock that I have. Actually, we had that clock since 1999. That is an old ass clock, man. But yeah, that's my issue with this entire series, is the fact that it's like Gustavo said, it's fan base all over it because it just gave in to the writers. Hey, I have no problem if Rey was a Mary Sue if it's written right. I have no problem if Ben Solo's arc was redeemable if it was done right, but it wasn't done right. It was done because the fan base felt like it needed to be done, and the writers and the developers and the directors gave in.
I'll tell you one thing: Captain Phasma on Battlefront 2 on Heroes vs. Villains is a pain in the ass. She's a fucking bitch. Like, she just takes down it. You could be the most powerful Jedi in that game, and Captain Phasma fucking takes your ass down.
But let me ask you this: who has played that in the entirety of this group that we have right here? Nobody has played Battlefront in years.
Played it recently. No,
I've been playing. Recently. Me and Joe have been playing it a lot lately.
No, I meant like us besides you.
Well, I guess I don't count. I'm not a human or part of the team.
Don't you know
Whatever.
like he corrected himself. That's kind of mean. He's like, wait, no, wait, correction. I don't mean you. No, but real quick, going back to the movie. I think this fails as a trilogy, man, because like a trilogy is 3 films, and you can literally watch episode 7, you could take out episode 8, and you can watch episode 9.
And if you good,
and you good, that's right, and you good. You don't need to watch episode 8. I'm like, they did so many things that I thought were just wrong in terms of like deference to episode 8. Like the whole Luke, like bringing Luke back, the whole scene where she throws this lightsaber and he picks it up and he's like, oh, you don't do this. You don't treat a lightsaber like this. I'm like, really, dude? Like, that's a spit in the face to The Last Jedi. And then he said like he was wrong. Oh, real quick, just around the table, what do you guys think of the use of Leia in the film? Like, what do you guys think of her scenes?
I mean,
I guess they did what they could, but I don't know. I feel like her death was extremely random. Like, it all of a sudden cuts to the scene. I know what I got to do. And then next thing you know, she's projecting herself.
It reminded me of
life.
this.
I'm like, wait, what?
It reminded me of that old fucking meme where it's like, wait, guys, I gotta go save my planet. And then she just goes into the fucking sunset and never returns. I'm like, yo, wait a minute. Her death was, like Andrew said, the most random shit that anybody can do. Luke's death, or, his ascendance to the fucking Force.
That's another issue about this movie, but go ahead.
Like, yeah, it's like their ascendance to the fucking, they got raptured basically. It's this whole motif about like, if you're a good guy, you get ascended to the Force realm and you're able to interact with people from the other side. If you're a bad guy, you don't get that. I'm like, no, wait. You mean to tell me that him killing his father, Ben Solo, did not push him into the deepest dark side to the point where Leia's death actually brought him back? I'm like, no.
I don't think it works like that, man. It's like
it's the biggest cop out, man.
You have to undergo like a special kind of training. I forget what the circumstances are, but you have to do something special. Not necessarily do something special, but like I said, like be some kind of special training to retain your individuality in the Force. So I think everybody dies once and joins the Force once you die. It's kind of like, I guess, the soul aspect of this series. But to keep your individuality and to be able to come back as like a Force ghost or whatnot, you have to undergo special training. Yoda was able to achieve that. Obi-Wan was
one
able
with
to
the
achieve
Force.
You mean to tell me
not necessarily
that
one? Everybody becomes one with the Force. That's the thing. But to retain your individuality and come back as a ghost, whatever, that's
like some next level shit.
you mean to tell me that
I feel like
Han Solo did this training?
No, that was a memory.
That was just
Han Solo
a
was a
memory.
memory. Han Solo
That was a memory. That
Han
was
Solo
not.
was not a Force
Yeah,
ghost.
that was not a Force thing.
I was
that
about
was a
to
memory.
say that's the thing about that movie. Like,
no,
what
that was
the
Kylo.
No, they
That was
confirmed
Kylo
that was.
projecting. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, did anybody else see the freak out on social media that what was the thing that Finn wanted to tell Rey when they were sinking in the sand? Everybody was like,
you.
"Oh, he wanted
you.
to say I love you," but then it turns out the directors were like, "Oh, he wanted to tell her that he's Force sensitive."
Yeah.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Like,
but they kind of built them as a couple though, like with Episode 7.
And-
like
And then Rose
I'm gonna,
And they ruined that at the end of this one.
and then they ruined that at the end of this one, and then they ruined it with 8 too. Like, I think Marlon's right. Like, there were too many cooks in the kitchen. There were too many hands in the cookie jar when it came to this. We needed like a singular vision of somebody. Even if it was different directors, we still needed a singular writer, a singular vision who said, okay, this is what we're going to set out to do in these 3 films. This is the through line, and we're going to stick to that. And I think it was harder to do having JJ do the first one and then Ryan do the second, which I loved, and then have JJ come back and try to fix. I don't want to say fix because Ryan didn't break anything. Ryan just reset stuff. Ryan said, and that's Ryan Johnson. He said, "I don't care what you guys want. I'm going to do something completely different. I'm not going to pay respect to what came before. I'm going to branch out and be bold." And I love that. Like, there's no reason why you got to go back to, like, I've said that on the Discord chat so many times. I said it like, this is an infinite universe. There's no reason whatsoever that everything has to come through the House of Kenobi and Solo and Skywalker and Palpatine and all this stuff. But
you know what? I'm gonna say it real quick. I'm tired of this DNI shit. I'm tired of it. Disney just forcing it down our throats. This diversity and inclusion stuff, man. Like, it's just too much. It's just too much.
It's funny.
And that's what these 3 films were. Was just,
you know what? I was like, not to get controversial or anything. Like, I hated that in Episode 8 with the whole Rose and Finn stuff. To me, it felt forced. But then I'm like, well, Disney takes a stand and said, hey, we're gonna have these characters be an item or share something together, and then because of the backlash, they backed the fuck down in Episode 9. I'm like, no, follow through with it. You already put your foot forward. Follow through. And then there was like that one kiss. Like, I don't want to say I hated it. It just felt like tokenism, right? Where you see these 2 women kiss, and I'm like, oh, really? They're gonna be like, hey, LGBTQ crowd, this shot is for you. I'm like, no, why don't you have a properly fleshed out character who happens to be gay?
Exactly.
Right? And they aren't defined by the fact that they're gay, right? They're just an awesome character independent of their sexual preference. Like, oh my, it was stupid.
I'll give you an example for me and about the movie. And like you said, like, there was too many cooks on the making this trilogy. For me, episode 7, 8, and 9 felt like watching one of our earlier podcasts and seeing you making an outline and then giving it to Justin and Justin changing some of that outline and then giving it to Andrew and Andrew changing some of that outline and then Lee putting his stuff in it and then me putting my stuff in it and then you look back at the original outline, you're like, no, we're not doing this. Fuck this. It's too many shit things that we're going to be talking about, and we're not going to give the proper amount of time to every single item on this list, and it's just going to come out like looking like garbage. So you make an executive decision and say, hey, listen, you know what? Let's trim the fat, get into the content that we really want to talk about, and then just go from there. What do we get? No, that's what it's supposed to work in a working environment that knows what they're doing. But at times, Disney just feels like we're not going to worry about creating a storyline that people like. We're just going to create a storyline that we can milk and that we can just basically put our political views and biases into it. And if you don't like it, well, all
You
right.
just ruined Star Wars for me.
Exactly.
Like-
but the problem is that they don't care about it if you don't like it, as long as it's making money. But the minute that it does not make money, then they go, oh shoot, let's go back and actually fix some of this shit. I'm like, no, that's you should try to do something. No, not try to do something that is great from the beginning, not because of backlash that happened because fans didn't like it, because you knew it was shit from the beginning.
And now I think they. Well, actually, I want to say two things. I want to go back to the Kylo moment. I think the Kylo fight between Rey, in the destroyed Star Destroyer, or no, Death Star. I thought that was a pretty cool. I thought that was a pretty cool battle. I didn't think it was the best lightsaber scene. I still think that the best fight choreography in these three movies was the throne room fight in The Last Jedi, and two lightsabers never touched each other in that fight. Two lightsabers, absolutely, they never touch each other. But and then sticking to that point, I think that, man, I was just so disappointed in that moment when Kylo turned. The only reason that I sort of bought the fact that Kylo turned when his mother called out to him through the Force was because there's two scenes in the entire trilogy between Kylo and his mother, Leia, that made me buy it. And it was in The Last Jedi when Leia gets blown into space and he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it. He's thinking about it. And the other stormtrooper is the one that blows Leia into space. And that leads directly into why he thought about his mother. So there's a special connection between Kylo and his mom, whereas in relation to his dad, Harrison Ford, Han Solo, he detests his dad. Like in episode 7, he's like, Ben, and he's like, there's no Ben. I killed him. He was weak and foolish like his father, and he's constantly dumping on his dad, but he doesn't dump on his mom. So I sort of bought that moment, but I really didn't, because I'm like, this guy has destroyed planets, and nothing has made him turn. He killed his father, and that didn't make him turn. But this one particular moment is why he turns, and then you have that whole metaphoric scene where he projects and he sees his father via memory, and then he makes the final turn from Kylo Ren to Ben Solo when he throws his lightsaber into the ocean of that planet. I'm like, okay, I get what you're trying to tell me. He's not bad anymore. He's come to the dark, to the light side. But that felt so rushed, and I hated that scene because I was like, when he killed Snoke in The Last Jedi, and they him and Rey have their little argument and little battle, and you can, again, another metaphoric visual scene where there's a lightsaber, they're pushing, they're both trying to grab it, and there's a physical breakup between them. It's a callback to episode 7 when they're fighting and the ground splits in half, right? It's another metaphor of she's on the light side, he's on the dark side. Last Jedi gives you the same thing. The lightsaber breaks apart, they break up in half. I'm like, that's another. You're driving it home again. These people are not compatible. They're similar, but they're not compatible. For him to be redeemed, I'm like, no, episode 9, he should have been the big bad. There was no need for a Palpatine. There was no need for a Snoke. In Rise of Skywalker, he should have been the battle at the end. Rey would have had to kill him. They should have like some scene where she's trying to bring him back. She is so trying to bring him back. And he's like, no, I'm not. This is me. And then boom, she would have killed him or whatever.
Can I just say something about this movie? Oh, that I just remember right now, just that really annoyed me about this whole situation. Can we just talk about how many fake deaths that this movie had?
The Chewbacca one got me, dude. And I was mad, bro. When they killed Chewbacca, I was like, no. But I was like, yes, you better keep him dead. Keep him dead. Make
Literally
him,
30 seconds later, man.
Raise
Literally
the
30
stakes.
seconds later.
Raise the fucking stakes. And then they bring him right the fuck back.
35
like,
seconds later.
Like, that moment for me was so weird because when they kill him, I'm like, no, yes, keep him dead. And then when they bring him back, I'm like, why didn't you keep him dead? Thank God he's alive.
Well, luckily, they did have 2 ships out there to make that work.
I know, right?
Because when he looked out, he saw 2 ships out there. So, luckily, it wasn't like only 1 ship out there. Then they destroy the ship, and then they bring him back. That would just
like I said, the thing for me though, like the Chewbacca thing, because that got spoiled for me. Like out of the entire movie, that got spoiled for me by some random comment on YouTube that says that Chewbacca scene felt so cheap for me, and I'm like, what do you mean Chewbacca scene? And I'm like, and then I stopped reading. And then when I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, don't tell me this is the Chewbacca scene that guy was talking about, because I'm going to be really pissed, man. I'm going to be really pissed. And then I see that, I'm like, okay, Chewbacca, you better say that. Literally 35 seconds later, there was another
He's not dead.
Right.
I went in with so low expectations. And I think Marlon knows. I haven't told anybody, but Marlon knows because I told Marlon. But you guys know how I am about spoilers.
Yeah.
My expectations for this movie was so low that I purposefully ruined it for me, like days before I went to the movie theaters to see this movie. There was a Reddit post breaking the whole thing down, and I literally sat down at work, and I wasn't work because I was out of work. Sorry, that's a lie. I literally sat down. I don't know where I sat down, and I read it. I read the whole like scene by scene breakdown. They had pictures of the kiss, like the kiss at the end. They had pictures of that. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So when I went into it and I saw it, I wasn't that mad because I was already upset. I was like, this is bullshit. I'm just going to watch it to watch it.
I'll give you an example about the kiss. Okay, can I just talk about that? For me, watching that kiss between Ben Solo and Rey
was unnecessary.
Felt like I was watching
Extremely
Romeo and
unnecessary.
Juliet, for crying out loud. That was literally for me like, oh no, she's dead. I must save her. It's like, goes up, saves her. It's like, oh, thank you, you're alive. Okay, now I'm dead. I'm like, yo, wait. This is literally Romeo and Juliet. Okay, what the fuck? And for me, and this is what I want to talk about, you guys, because this is the part that for me, like, just annoyed the fuck out of me. And my brother was telling me like, oh, this movie is so great. I'm like, no, bro, there's some lore inconsistencies here that for me just really pissed me off. And this one is the biggest one. Luke Skywalker did not like Tatooine. Anakin Skywalker hated Tatooine. You mean to tell me you're gonna go and use their fucking lightsabers and you're gonna go bury them in Tatooine for their fucking honor? Are you fucking kidding me, man?
And then I was thinking, I was like, I can see the Anakin bit, I can see the Luke bit, but I'm like, what ties does Leia have to Tatooine? She was, oh my God, I almost said something not nice. She was brought up in Alderaan. She's from Alderaan. She had nothing to do with Tatooine. Like, why are they burying her?
She's
her
like this,
sword
like
there?
you laugh, like you're smiling. Yeah, you did the right thing, lady. Like, no, you did not. Like, what are you talking about, man?
They'll be like,
Go
ahead.
No, my brother was telling me that I was one of the radicals because I was thinking like that. I'm like, nah, bro. Like, if from the perspective of lore, this movie had so much BS. Like, oh, Chewie didn't get a freaking medal on Jedi on Episode 6, and then you're gonna give Solo's medal on this one just to say.
What was that character's name? The one played by Lupita Nyong'o? The orange one?
I can't remember now off the top of my head, but
I was
Maz?
like, Maz Kanata? Is it Maz Kanata?
I know it's Maz. I can't tell you the.
When she gives him the thing, like, I'm not gonna lie, I had a nerdy moment. Like in the movie theaters, I'm like, oh yeah, like she was fucking in episode 4 to see him not get one. I'm like,
Yeah.
How the hell did she know? But then I know that people online were like, oh well, she did say that in episode 7, she did say that was her boyfriend, so maybe they did have something going on or some kind of friendship that allowed her to know. I'm like, oh my God, it's a plot hole. The point I'm trying to make is that it's a plot.
They were saying that she's like thousands of years old. She's like one of the Yodas, not a Yoda species, but
I know what you mean. Yeah, like in terms of age and shit.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? I'm taking it back to that Chewbacca scene because you guys like to move so quickly. What I thought was dope was that the lightning power.
We're light speed switching,
right?
light skipping. We're light skipping, okay?
Skipping.
We're going back and forth between this
Yeah.
goddamn movie.
Well, so as you guys probably all know, my favorite Star Wars character as of today, still, even if he's no longer canon, is Starkiller. What's his name from the
Force Unleashed.
The Force Unleashed.
It's Unleashed.
And I thought it was such a
it's
badass scene.
As a million voices just screamed in anguish when Justin just said that.
Yeah. I thought it was a badass moment when they were trying to pull for the ship and lightning came out of her hands. And I'm like, okay, now she's about to go in and do some damage control. And now she knows how to do lightning. And now she's just looking at herself like, oh, what did I do? I did something wrong. And that was kind of disappointing.
That's the thing, though.
Whatever.
That's the thing, Justin. You know how Disney is. Like, oh, no, lightning bad. Healing good. Lightning bad, healing good.
Was that supposed
Like,
to be like
he
foreshadowing
healed her
though of
too.
like that she was, I guess, related to Palpatine maybe, or something to do with the dark side?
No, the lightning thing. Andrew's right. The lightning thing I bought. Like again, going in, I knew that she was Palpatine's granddaughter. So when the even if I'm pretty sure that all of us who went in who didn't know what was going on, who were just fans of Star Wars, as soon as you see that, you're like, oh wait a minute, something to do with at the very least something to do with the dark side. You may not be able to pinpoint and say, oh, she's related to Palpatine, but something to do with the dark side, because up until this point, the only people we've seen do these type of force powers, especially lightning, has been dark side users. And you can you can reference somebody like Starkiller, who was a very powerful dark side user, right? So, yeah, there's no reason for her to be and then at the end, like the Skywalker bit. Oh, what's your name? Oh, Rey Skywalker. I'm like, no, just be Rey. Just
Yeah. Here's the thing for me. The whole bit thing about, I realized that she was Palpatine when Ben Solo Kylo Ren at this point goes and meets up with Palpatine, and he's like, I know a secret that you don't know. And I'm like, okay. What is that secret? It's like, she has a power that you do not understand. I'm like, okay, so I'm guessing she has something to do with the parents that were something probably part of the rebellion or probably part of the Empire. Something to do with, Palpatine, why he wants to kill her. I'm like, okay, I'll buy it. When I saw that, when Ben Solo says, I know your heritage. I'm like, oh, great. Now we get this. Okay, now we're going to see that she's fucking Palpatine and he's fucking Skywalker. And it's like two freaking families, like Romeo and Juliet, like all freaking all over again. Like two families that oppose each other and shouldn't be together. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go with that. And literally, that's what it felt like to me. The thing, though, is like, can I just say that Chewbacca's acting when he realized that Leia was dead kind of felt like really overdramatic for some reason?
It felt overdramatic, but it was another fan service thing where it felt overdramatic, but it was just another thing. I remember when I saw that, man, I wish I would have seen the movie again, or I wish we would have done it sooner, because I remember when I saw that in the movie theater, I was like, oh, they're doing that for a reason in episode 7, that something between Leia and Chewie did not happen, which is this. When Han Solo is killed, Leia walks right by Chewie to Rey, who she just met 5 minutes ago, right? Where she knows Chewie for years, decades even. She walks right by Chewie and she hugs Rey after Solo's killed. So I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But so they try to fix that in episode 9 with, hey, this person that you've known for a long time and you love is dead, and he's like, oh, I have to act for this death and then for the hug she didn't give me, so we're gonna make it up to the fans that way. It was just complete and utter, like, the only fan service thing that I liked were two things. Ben Solo running through that dark planet shooting the red hooded guards, because I was like, oh, okay, that's a callback to his father. And then my favorite one was Wedge. Like that one shot of Wedge when they're fighting in space. I didn't even like Lando. I didn't like when they went down to that to that rave party planet. I was expecting to see Justin in the sand. It was like they had like this carnival type EDC type shit party,
like the Burning Man basically.
The Burning Man, yeah. When they had the Burning Man planet, that you see the guy with the mask, dude. I called it out in the theater. I didn't say it loud, but I was like, "That's Lando." Automatically, I knew. I was like, "That's Lando." And when they revealed it, I'm like, "You see, this is ah."
Talking about like the things that for me I didn't like was when they kill off that pilot on the big ship battle when everybody like trying to take over the planet and you have all the freaking star destroyers and stuff like that, the entire fleet, and they're all in their last about to get destroyed. Everybody's dying, and like literally the guy who's friends with I can't remember the name of the guy. Finn's friend.
Rose?
No, not the other one. The
Jana, the black girl.
No, the dude, the actual fighter.
Oh,
the
Poe.
Poe's friend dies. Like, no, Poe. It's like he dies, and then he literally after he dies, like the cavalry has arrived. I'm like, wait a minute. Literally, you kill him off right as the cavalry arrive and save everybody. I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, you guys suck, man. It's like
Oh yeah.
Like I don't understand when writers and people do this. It's like, we gotta make the stakes higher. We gotta kill somebody, but we're not gonna kill somebody who everybody loves. We're gonna kill some side character that nobody cares about because it's just gonna make it seem more realistic. I'm like, but the way that you did it is just so horrible because like the guy was literally fighting the entire battle, saves a lot of people, deals with all this stuff, and then you immediately kill him right as the cavalry arrives. I'm like, why? Like that just sounds like the most like retarded way of just doing things. And
they don't want to pay him for any more scenes, man. That's what it was.
Dude, I felt a little weird in the scene where like that girl's like, I don't know who my family is, and then Lando like looks over at her and he kind of like lifts his eyebrows like, why don't we find out together? And I was like, I don't know if there's like a romantic thing going on over there or like trying to reference that you're my daughter. Like I was like, I can't really read the room right now.
I thought of two things when I saw that, and again, this is the cynic in me. I was like, Disney Plus. Yeah. I was like, all these little open threads, like I'm pretty sure Disney is going to try to milk this shit somehow, which I'm totally fine with if they make it cool. Like I haven't seen all of The Mandalorian. As a matter of fact, I think I only saw the first and second episode, and then I checked out because I was waiting for it to finish so I can check it out.
Mandalorian is fucking good, man.
Yeah, I gotta watch it. But yeah, and just to pivot, because we're going to close down in the next maybe 10, 15 minutes, but now that we've shared, and this was, I'll be honest, sorry to the listeners. I don't want to say this was a horrible spoiler cast, but this was, we didn't, our aim wasn't to break down the movie. It was just to give our thoughts on it, and I think we've done that. But where would you like Disney to take, and I'll do a roundtable, where would you like Disney to take the franchise next? Like, what type of movies would you like to see? Would you like to see more films, more shows like The Mandalorian? What type of characters do you want them to focus on? What eras would you like them to go to? I mean, this is Star Wars, and for all those Skywalker nerds and Star Wars fanboys who can't let go of the past, I got two words for you, and that is F you, without being too nasty. F you. Because now we can put these Skywalkers to rest. We can put them back in the casket where they belong. And we can start telling brand new stories in this amazing universe. I'll kick it off to Justin. Where would you like to see the franchise go next?
Agreed. I am tired of the Skywalkers. This family has destroyed this galaxy. I don't understand how this one family destroyed this entire galaxy for years, for decades. Well, yes, I agree with Goose 100%. I mean, I know that there's supposedly an Obi-Wan Kenobi series coming to Disney Plus. Yeah. So that I look kind of forward to. It doesn't have to do with the Skywalkers, not really, but just maybe like Obi-Wan story while he's on Tatooine. Maybe it finally finishes that epic battle, that fight between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan that they never finished.
They did. They finished in the Clone Wars.
That's
oh no,
right.
sorry, Rebels. Rebels.
Rebels. And I would have liked to see like a more in depth between that, because that battle, and I don't know if people know, but Obi-Wan Kenobi was the first Jedi to kill a Sith in 1,000 years. If anybody doesn't know Star Wars lore like that, so that's like a huge moment. And
Yep.
technically, he didn't kill him; he's still alive. He defeated him, but
It's a spider.
exactly. So now, anyways. I would love for them to go and tell the old Republic story. Like I see those little trailers and snippets from that game, Star Wars: The Old Republic, that online subscription based game. If they tell that story, with what's his name, Darth Malgus, and all those characters, like that would be great. But the Skywalker series, the Millennium Falcon, just retire them and put them in a museum somewhere and let us just enjoy for what they were, And let's
Just do me a favor. Do me a favor. Put the Skywalkers, the Anakins, the Lukes, the Leias, the Ben Solos, and everything like that up there in the fucking Trekkie museum and behind all that stuff, and just leave it there. Okay, just leave it there. I want to hear Lee's thoughts about this. What do you think, Lee? Do you feel like the movie could have done a lot of things better? Do you feel that could do better stories now that the final nail on the casket for this long zombie-like movies has finally gone?
Well, I haven't been a big Star Wars fan like y'all, apparently. I've watched, the first episode 1, 2, and 3. I haven't watched 4, 5, or 6.
You watched the prequels. You
7,
haven't watched
8, 9.
Wow.
So.
All right. So we're done. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening to this.
I've liked the first 3. I liked. I haven't watched 4, 5, or 6, and 7, 8, 9 is like they were okay. They weren't like the first ones. But
wow, he's basically saying that the prequels are much better than this ones.
I think they are, to be honest.
Yeah, the prequels are definitely
better.
Way better.
The prequel trilogy is better than episodes 7, 8, and 9 as a collective. God. Absolutely, because again, it's just you could take out episode 8 out and you could watch 7 and 9 and you're good. But anyway, sorry, go ahead, Lee.
Happy to see that.
But to tell you where I think where it should go and all that, I really don't know where it could go, unless they just start a whole new place, not all new people and all that. I think that would be a cool, more bring it to a new generation, like a new group, new generation, instead of this what came out in the 80s.
1977 was the first one. 1980 was the second one. 1977 the first one. 1980 what? 86 or was it 80?
I don't know.
Okay, so the first 3 was basically before my time.
That's right. Yeah.
But to me, that's where I think they should go. Is just start a whole new area. Build it up from scratch. And plan ahead better than what they have with these last 3. Take their time. Don't rush it just to get something out. Don't play for the market, just for the money. Just build it, enjoy it, and go that way.
Gotcha. Also, to the listeners out there, what I meant was, when my original rant about this was that I meant that from the beginning of the first movie, A New Hope to Return of the Jedi, it was a 6-year period. As opposed to it took 7 years between the first one and the second one. I meant like
so 77 and 83. Is that what you're saying?
77, 80, and 83. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that I meant that they had 6 years to enjoy this, but nowadays it's like it gets pumped up every 1 to 2 years, which doesn't give enough time for the fans to get to enjoy this characters as a whole. For me, though, talking to your original question, Gustavo, I would love to see Knights of the Old Republic with all the bells and whistles that series deserves. And I would rather be a TV show like The Mandalorian as opposed to a fucking trilogy. Because we have seen time and time again that studios, except for Marvel's, which is ironically, cannot do trilogies with intricate storylines that move across years. A TV show, I feel like that's probably the best bet that they can do for Knights of the Old Republic, because that is a really freaking intricate storyline. We're talking about during the time where not even Yoda, was alive in certain areas. I mean, think about it. Yoda was like 400 years old, but even then, this is like 1,000 years before it. Two, I would like, if you're gonna make a movie based on Star Wars, I would like to see Keanu Reeves fucking in it. Okay, he has the freaking acting
He
chops
should
for
be
it,
Quinlan Voss.
and that will be freaking amazing. That's what I hope for, because that I can see, as an overpowered character that can basically just wreck shit. Because we know Keanu Reeves has that, history behind him, with the entire series of John Wick.
Matrix, John Wick.
So we know that
Speed.
he can pull it off. And The Last Samurai too. Was it The Last Samurai, or was
No,
it
the last
Tom
samurai was Tom
Cruise,
Cruise, dude.
no Tom Cruise? No, which is the one from that they can't Keanu Reeves played?
The something Ronin.
The Seven Samurais, right?
Something Ronin.
Something Ronin.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the Seven Ronin. Yeah, that's the one he played. But that's
You
something that I would
gotta,
like.
you gotta love Hollywood. The Last
know.
Samurai starring Tom Cruise, The Mexican starring Brad Pitt, and then
God.
we're gonna have the movie called The Last N-Word on Earth, starring Tom Hanks.
Oh my God, dude, you're such a horrible person, man.
That is
Like,
not one of my jokes. That
And
is
the
not
Paul-
my joke. That is a great Paul Mooney joke. I can't take credit for that one.
And the worst thing about that is he could probably pull it off. That's the thing. And that's the thing. That is the thing that just gets me. He could probably pull it off. The Star Wars is a great series. It's a beloved franchise. I feel like Disney has been catering to the SJWs, to the snowflakes, to everything except Star Wars fans. And I feel like they need to right the ship now, because I don't know what to tell you, man. We haven't gotten a single decent Star Wars game in a while. Even I can say Jedi Fallen Order has some issues. So we can tell, please, Disney, do me a favor, stop giving your fucking franchise games to fucking EA. They are no good. They are no good. And I repeat it, they're no good. Andrew, before I continue ranting like a madman, like Palpatine. with his
No, wait.
fucking-
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna save Andrew for last because I got my thoughts gathered up and I don't want to lose him. I'll save the best for last with Andrew.
I don't know about the best, but
No, you're gonna save the best for last with Andrew. You're gonna knock it out the ballpark.
He's a Yankees fan.
Yes. I agree with Marlon. Like, I want them to go to different places. I agree with everybody. I want them to go to different places. I'm looking forward to the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I got the Mandalorian to look forward to. I haven't finished that. I need to finish it. I think that Disney should leverage Disney Plus. I'm a big believer that movies nowadays are not the best medium for storytelling. I think that episodic shows are things like shows like shows that you can find on Netflix or anywhere else. Just the episodic medium, I think, is the best format to tell a developed story, where you can have a 10 episode season, and it doesn't just have to hit these beats all the time. You can take one episode to do character development on just one single character. Like, I think of, not to go on a tangent, but I think of The Haunting of Hill House, which everybody should watch. It's one of my favorite shows on Netflix. And I remember they took one episode to focus on one particular character, and that was it. And after that episode, everything made sense. You could see why the character was the way that she was because of that one episode. And some people were like, oh, it was a waste because it didn't move the story forward. I'm like, yeah, it did move the story forward. Absolutely, it moved the story forward. It just took time, right? Because we needed that character development episode to explain why this character was the way she was before that episode and after. And it gave nuance to her as a character and all the characters around her. So I think that episodic storytelling is the way to go. I'd love to see an Old Republic TV show. I'd love to see again, I want to get away from the Skywalkers, but I'd love to see something. I'd love to see something on the Knights of Ren. Like, give me like a movie maybe on the Knights of Ren. Give me a movie on Darth Vader. Give me a movie on something not in the past, but something completely new. Like, what happens after Rey Skywalker, right? I think the possibilities are basically limitless. They're endless, and hopefully Disney does the right thing. And Episode 8 bothered me a lot with the SJW stuff, but I still think that it could have been fixed in Episode 9. Like, again, I didn't like the Rose Finn stuff. I thought that was stupid. But they could have, if they would have followed through with good character development, I would have been like, okay, that's not something SJW. These are just good characters. Period.
I mean, look what happened on the last movie. Like Rose, like, Finn, where are you going? It's like, bye, bitch. I don't need to see you anymore.
When I saw that, I'm like, are you? He's like, I got my big booty Judy right now, so I'm good. I was like, what the hell? Anyway, I'm gonna kick it off.
Like, so mad about that because
I'm gonna kick it off to my man Andrew.
Oh man. So I guess all of you guys kind of already said pretty much what I wanted, to be honest. I would the two directions I would like to see is one that takes place like either really far in the future or like in another galaxy or something, just completely not to do anything with anybody here or in this current series.
In another galaxy far, far away.
Something. And just more Jedis, man. I want to see more Jedis, to be honest. I'm tired of this 1v1 type stuff, man.
Yeah, one
I want to see,
solo.
like so going back to maybe like the Knights of the Old Republic or something like back when there was plentiful Jedi of both the light and the dark. Like I would like to see just crazy Jedi action, man.
Actually,
Could you
she's
imagine
right.
like hundreds of them just charging into battle?
Hey,
Yeah,
you know
man.
what?
Like have like a Lord of the Rings battle, man. Like just like two Jedi armies clashing.
That'd
That'd be epic. In my
If they
opinion.
Well, you know what? That
they could
reminds
do
me.
that if they go back before the rule of two, because I know that they so like the Sith has always have a thing where it's a rule of two, but it happened with a particular Sith. But before that, I'm of the belief, I could be wrong, that there were many of them. So if they could go back before that stupid rule of two, then we could have that battle that Andrew wants. Go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry.
Hey, so real quick, going back to SJW, whatever. At the very end of that movie, that kid who picks up the broom with the Force, what did that have to do with the rest of the series?
It was
supposed to be
Ryan Johnson saying, "Hey, like the kid picked up the broom. He looks up to the stars, and it's sort of like a visual metaphor of there's more to this than just the Skywalkers."
Yeah.
And it was like to me, it was like an open invitation to other directors and creators to let's move past this. And clearly, with the Rise of Skywalker, they did it. But
Or
sorry,
as I like to call it the Rise of Skywalker, but I digress.
It's kind of like Baby Yoda, man. You got Baby Yoda. Pretty soon.
Baby Yoda, guys, Baby Yoda, or baby nuggets or chicken nuggets. As well, man, the fucking memes on that fucking thing, man. Jesus Christ, chicken nuggets. Oh almighty.
Anyways,
I'm sorry, but it's like, yo, what the fuck, man? It's like the amount of memes that this stupid thing propped up through the entire holiday season for me was like, you guys are ruining the Mandalorian for me by making a beloved character, making him into a meme.
I think my favorite meme though is the one where is the guy who plays Ben Solo, and he's like, but it's from another series or something, and he's like yelling at Baby Yoda, and Baby Yoda's like, "I am Star Wars now." He's just like, he's oh man, that one.
I gotta see that.
The thing for me though, like the one for me, there's a nice video about where they basically put subtitles around Baby Yoda to basically just appear like, have you seen those dog videos where they put subtitles under the dog whenever they do something to make it seem like he's saying that or thinking that? Well, they did the same thing with Baby Yoda, and basically there's a scene where the Mandalorian is about to snipe off some dudes. I'm like, yeah, kill those motherfuckers. Yeah, now you're roasting. Like, yo, like, what the fuck? So, about the Star Wars as a whole, people saying, oh, Disney bought out Star Wars. the Star Wars basically sold out. I'm like, no. To the newest fans, let me tell you something. Look, George Lucas has been selling out this franchise for over 40 plus years because that's what he loves to do. He likes selling out to the highest bidder, and he doesn't care because he cares about money. If I tell you the amount of re-releases that this franchise has gotten over the years, with director's cuts, director's uncuts, director's uncuts of the uncuts, changing casting mid releases because now you're thinking, oh, wait, now we got to put the actor that played Anakin Skywalker in Episode 3 into the old movies again, release. So for me, there's no amount of director's cuts and director's uncuts that's going to change how this trilogy played out because it just played out like a train wreck. Too many cooks on the development side of things, too many outside influence that basically changed the way that this movie is going to be about, or at least the trilogy was going to be about. And I'm sorry. Disney put themselves into a hole by making it about the rise of Skywalker. I feel that we have talked this tale too many times, too many years. Gustavo, like you guys said, we need better storylines. That little scene at the end of Episode 8 was great because it felt like, hey, the Force can come from anywhere and can be used by anyone. It doesn't have to be this this big name hero. The reason why I enjoyed the fact that Rey was a nobody in Episode 7 and Episode 8 was because of that. She was a nobody. So if you would have trained her and done her arc correctly, I could have bought out the fact that, okay, maybe she's a little bit more force sensitive, like, Anakin Skywalker did. He was force sensitive. But Yoda said, no, we can't train this guy because he has a very dark past.
He's too old.
No, it's because she has a high metachlorian count.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. But the thing for me, though, is like, okay, if she has a high metachlorian count, then that means that she's force sensitive and she's able to do things that no other Jedi can do, which is fine. But there has to be a lore behind it. If you can just say, oh, she's Rey, love her. Like that's not how things go. That's not how anything goes in life. You don't go to, hey, your name is Gustavo, great, now you're my best friend. I'm like, no, that doesn't work like that, okay? You need to build it up. Otherwise, you're building a sand castle on a pillar of sand. Nice. It's just going to fall apart.
The Skywalker family, to all you Star Wars nerds like us who can't let go of the past, are the big villains of Star Wars. It's not the Sith. It's the Skywalkers. Between Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader and Ben Solo / Kylo Ren, who's also a Skywalker on his mother's side, they have killed billions of people. They have they've destroyed 10 planets between both of them. They are the villains. Trillions. They're horrible. They're horrible.
The thing for me though is okay, here's the thing. So the scene in Episode 9 where they basically are gonna destroy the bounty hunters' homeworld. I'm like, okay, wait. You mean to tell me that the guys in charge says we're gonna pick a random planet that we're gonna destroy. We're gonna destroy this particular planet that had nothing to do with the Skywalkers, but just they happened to come from there because they were just trying to get some stuff done in that planet. Or yeah, we're gonna kill you guys because you guys will help them. I'm like, no, wait, what? No. I know it's supposed to be about lore, it's about bring up this again. Oh, it's close friend that died during the fucking destruction of the planet. What?
We're gonna get into a whole lot more tangents in this podcast, and we'll keep going.
Yeah, true.
This movie was just like you guys saying, too much fan service. A lot of negativity here. I don't know. I could add a few other notes, but I don't.
It could have been better.
It could have been, man. It could have been, but they tried to bring back too many stuff. Like we said, where Palpatine, for example, his death was insignificant in the previous movies. His Vader's turn to the good side for
was
a brief
insignificant.
Moment
yeah,
was insignificant by bringing Palpatine back because he technically didn't die. The Death Star was insignificant because now he has a whole fleet of ships that could destroy planets that came out of nowhere. Like all these stuff from previous movies seem kind of like nothing, just to try to bring back a bad guy real quick. for the last movie when try to make
Give
it
billions of people.
to try to give
billions of
Ben
souls.
Solo a redemption, and that I didn't like all that. But anyways,
Like you said, I think we nailed it at the beginning of the podcast when you said it, Andrew. Where if you take this movie as by itself, just the context that the movie has, if you look at it from that perspective, it's an entertaining, decent movie. If you look at it from the perspective of Star Wars as a whole, there are too many plot holes and too many fan services that just basically kill the vibe that the movie has.
exactly.
And I think at the end of the day, that's what happened. You know, we can make the argument what could change, what could have been done better, but at the end of the day, that's what we got. And we have to judge it based on what we got, not on what it could have been or what it should have been. Do you guys want to give it a score since we are reviewing 2.5 too much lightsabers?
On a scale of
Yeah.
1 to 10, or
on
one
a
to-
scale of 1 to 10, using a 10-point scale, so only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's just give it a round table score, and then let's close this show out. I'm gonna go first. I'm going to give it a round 7. A 7. It was fun to watch. It was entertaining to watch. But as somebody who wants to be challenged when I watch my films, somebody who doesn't want to be spoon-fed only just what I like, it was a huge disappointment. I loved episode 8 because it challenged everything that I knew about Star Wars. Everything that I loved and wanted about Star Wars, I said, no, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. Sorry. It's like episode 8 was like the Dark Souls of movies, where it was like, you want to enjoy this, you have to play by our rules. And if you don't play by our rules, it's fine. Just don't like it and walk away. Episode 9 was not that. Episode 9 was a game for the folks who like easy mode. They like easy baby mode. And no. So a 7. I give it a 7.
I'll go next. I will give it a 6. Because it was shit.
Then wouldn't that be below
Yes,
5 then? 5 is
Now,
average.
if it was shit, there would be 1 for you.
5
brother.
is not average. 5 is still a failing grade. An
One-
average score is 7.
5 is average because it's in the middle.
if you're going to if you're looking at like an academic
Yeah, I'm
scale,
looking at
that's
an
different. But
academically scale.
like
Okay, so
one
we're gonna
being
Okay.
or
Do-
0
okay.
being like completely, or 1
Do
being
me a
completely
favor,
god
Justin.
awful.
Don't
10
ever
being
get into
great.
academia, please.
5.
Yourself.
Then
Don't
I'll
ever
put
get
it down to a 4. It's below average. It was a below average film. It's 4.
Wow, it's a 4. It's great. Okay, 4. Justin
Below
gives it a
average.
4 because after he was schooled on what average is, he gives it a 4. But I'll accept it. I'll allow it. It's a 4.
All right. Lee, what do you feel?
I give it a 7.
You feel 7?
Since I'm not as big as a Star Wars fan, I mean, I didn't really know all the backstories of everything. So I enjoyed the movie as it was.
He's your everyday man, basically. Like that. Literally, this is what this movie was about for these people. Like they could just enjoy it and just just have fun with it. I feel like that's what it was about.
Now, if I was bigger into Star Wars and knew the lore more, and I might change, but as a movie, I give it a 7.
All right, fair enough. We go to the Crooked Man.
The Crooked Man? What?
The Crooked Man.
The crook. What is that a new video game?
Is that my
No, that's it's reference to the Yankees. Okay.
Crooked man.
Let's wrap this up, fellas.
I'm leaning at 6 right now. I was going to go 7 with like the Palpatine lightning at the end, which is epic. But then I think about like that kiss at the end. I bring it back down to a 6. I'm sorry.
So what is it? What is it for you?
6.
As for me, I just want to be an asshole about this whole situation. I just want to say it's gonna be a 7.5. Too little lightsabers. If anybody gets that reference, I love you. So the movie was.
Wait, it can't be a 7.5. It's a 10-point scale.
I
You
don't
have to
care.
choose.
I
No,
make
you
the
have
rules.
to choose.
I'm
You
like
have to
Palpatine.
choose a number so I can average out the numbers for a whole score. This
So
guy
seven-
always gonna throw
7.5.
a
love
wrench
doing
into
that.
things.
I love doing that.
Rounds up 8.
You will follow what I say. I am Palpatine. I am the Empire. Like, no, honestly, like we're talking like seriously, it's literally a 7. No, 6. I'll give you why is 6. Because if I'm looking at the perspective of
Not too long, Marlon. I gotta get going.
cinematography, the way that the choreography was done, okay. Music, decent. But storyline, lore, and plot holes aside, it was just for me a 6, above average, but that was it.
All right, that wraps it up. That's an overall average. Thanks, Marlon, for complying with the rules after getting bitched at. An overall average of 6. Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, gets an overall average score of 6 from the folks here at TMSG. We want to thank everybody for listening. And with that, may the Force be with you. That was fucking corny.